Alright, here we are in the foredeck area, and you can see we have a lot of room up here, and this yacht just arrived from the Caribbean, so they've got some little extra supplemental fuel jugs still on board. And you can see these tramps are in good shape. And actually in the forepeaks we have a bunk on the port side, and we have on the starboard side a head with a little sink and shower, so that you could actually put a crew member or maybe like a bad kid or whatever over here, and this could be their staterooms up forward. There's ventilation portholes in there, and here's another view of the foredeck and the rig. Okay, so we're gonna head up on the Flybridge. There's two ways to get up there, here and on the other side. Nice wide steps, unlike some other brands that have very steep steps that are easy to fall down. And over here we have push button sailing, okay? Fast and slow speeds here for each electric winch. All the sail controls lead up here, so you can do it all from up here. Notice we have plenty of lounge space back here. You can adjust these backrests so you can have them all the way back, right here. There's a table under here and there that joins together and makes a nice big table, if that's what you want. And then for the wheel, you might want to back up a little bit. On this one, notice that what you can do is you can tilt it to one side or the other. So let's just say we're on port tack and you want to be over here so you can see your main and your jib. Well, you tilt the wheel to the port, right? Conversely, let's say you're on starboard tack, you can put the wheel over on the starboard side and see up through your windows to the sails, so you're sailing the boat in optimal fashion. So I've had this boat going 14.2 knots, and it was very exhilarating but stable. You don't even need drink holders on this boat. It's so stable, you just set your beer can down or your glass and it stays right there. Check out on the foredeck, we have the good kind of trampolines, not like these rope versions on this sunreef over here that fall apart in about 3-4 years and then you can fall through them like I've done. No, these are much better made trampolines, and they'll last much longer, and they're nicer to lay on too. I've slept on them and I actually like that a lot. Those, forget it, they chew up your feet and they're not easy to sleep on. So that is a quick tour of Parlay 2, and this will make a great family boat or charter boat because it has 6 staterooms, easily convertible back to 5 staterooms if that's what you want. So give me a call or send me an email on our website, largecatamaranforSale.com, and let's get you out sailing. Talk to you later. Okay, today we're on a 2020 Lagoon 52 6 stateroom version called Parlay 2. We're here in beautiful Fort Lauderdale. Here's a brief look at the rig and the stern area, and we're going to have a fast tour. So if you want to focus on any part of the boat, you just pause it. It's like having hundreds of photos. Let's try and walk on without falling in the water. Oh. And let's go down in this stateroom. This can only be entered through this hatch here in the stern. And notice we have the walnut interior. This lasts longer than the Alpe interiors, with a nice view out of the picture window, a ventilation hatch, a semi walk-around island berth with a head and shower over here. Okay. Yeah, so we have a nice head here with the shower door there, so you can keep your stuff dry and take a shower. There you go. And moving on to the next forward stateroom, which is really identical to the one we saw on the other side. We have plenty of storage space, hanging locker space, and a nice big walk around island berth with storage underneath. There's a couple of drawers down here. And going into the head, there's a shower door with a ventilation hatch that leads up to the forepeak, so you can get nice flow through ventilation in here when you're at anchor and heading into the wind. So plenty of room. Okay.
I gotta stop it. My finger got all in the front of it.
Yeah, okay. It's going now. It's going. Okay, so we have some engine controls here in the salon. And there's your VHF. Autopilot's over there. And we'll just take a walk down below and we'll see the next two staterooms. So here to the right is a full walk around island berth with nice set of shelves on the side, plenty of storage, hanging locker space, and then here's a head with a dry shower, and so we have ventilation. If you open this hatch and you open the hatch in the forepeak, you get some nice flow through ventilation coming in here, which is important when you're an anchor and you don't want to run the generator all the time. All right, heading back behind us, we have the stateroom with bunk beds over here. Let's walk this way. So this is a good one for kids or crew. It's got its own head and shower, access through this door. All right, why don't we head up this way? We're going to just look to the right. This is another small stateroom. It has its own head and shower. And here is the salon with leather upholstery, which lasts twice as long as cloth and doesn't stain the way cloth does when you spill red wine on it. Like, I'm really good at doing that after having a couple of those. Notice that there's a lot of overhead storage in Lagoons. Lagoon is the only builder that does that, and when you're living aboard the boat, this is really important because you don't want to live in clutter like on some of these other boats that are just really built for week-long charters and not so much for live aboard, because you want to put all that stuff away. We had a full-size fridge, freezer. Nice galley with plenty of storage. Here's an extra freezer or fridge, depending on how you adjust the thermostat. And we have plenty of panoramic views out of the big picture windows. Nice big ventilation hatches. B&G electronics. Here's the air conditioning system and the generator. So here's the cockpit with a nice big table for dining and big lounge area. And that is the spaceship access hatch to the other stateroom. It's another double stateroom. It has its own head and shower. And with a separate shower. That's nice. Nice big picture windows. And plenty of counter space and hanging locker space. I think shelf space is really important in the bedroom because I don't want to have my water, my rigging knife, my wallet, and everything with me. So if something happens, I can jump out and take care of any problems that might crop up. Okay, so here's some kind of a sink and trash. There's an ice maker. Here's a sink with hot and cold water, and there's an extra cockpit fridge underneath there. So I've got a nice big cockpit. Okay, today we're on a 2020 Lagoon 52 6 stateroom version called Parlay 2. We're here in beautiful Fort Lauderdale. Here's a brief look at the rig in the stern area, and we're going to have a fast tour. So if you want to focus on any part of the boat, you just pause it. It's like having hundreds of photos. Let's try and walk on without falling in the water. Oh. And let's go down in this stateroom. This can only be entered through this hatch here in the stern. And notice we have the walnut interior. This lasts longer than the Alpe interiors, with a nice view out of the picture window, a ventilation hatch, a semi walk-around island berth with a head and shower over here. Okay.